Good afternoon. Today we are going to do a clothing and textiles project called marbling. For t-shirts in your closet, if you'll notice, you've probably got a lot of screen printed t-shirts. The way these designs are done is that color is put on a screen and then applied to the fabric in that particular design so that you get an overall print like this with many different colors. Clothing and fabric can be dyed in many different ways. Perhaps you've tie-dyed at camp or even at home. Today's activity is a marbling activity using shaving cream and paint. So to do this activity, you do need to have some things down because it is a messy project, and you want to make sure you have a big enough container for your fabric as well as some paint. I am using fabric paint today, but you can try any kind of paint that you have at home and see what happens. So to begin with, you're going to spray your shaving cream into a plastic container, and you're just going to kind of smooth it out a little bit, and you can see from the side I'm not filling it all the way up, but just enough to have a good layer. Next, I'm going to apply 3 different colors of paint to give a sort of marbled effect using 3 different colors. So as I apply the color, I want to make sure that I get enough in there so that it will come through on the fabric. And like I say, this is actually a fabric paint, but you can try this with other paints and see what kind of effect you get, and we will see what comes out of this. So once you get your paint in there, then you want to take a toothpick, and I would recommend 1 toothpick for each color, and sort of just break the color up into the shaving cream just a little bit. Swirl it around to get the design you want. Again, you want to do this for each color with a different toothpick so that your colors don't get all murky and you lose the design effect that you're seeking. So we go through and do this. Now, the next step is you're going to use a light colored fabric, preferably a white or an off-white. And it's best if it's a cotton, something sort of thin, because when you lay your fabric inside your pan, you're going to gently lay it on top of the paint and shaving cream mixture. And you can see the design through this. So this is why you would use a thin cloth to do this with and a light color. And you're just going to gently pat on top of the shaving cream and maybe even kind of rub it a little bit. You don't want to mash your hand down into the shaving cream, but you want to just work that color in. And we're not compromising the design in any way, but we are making sure that the color is attaching to the fabric. So we will do this and make sure that we get all the color onto the fabric, and then gently lift this up. And I did say this is messy, so you want to make sure you have a place where you can lay this, because the next step is you are going to scrape this off. So I've used a couple of sheets of parchment paper, and you're just going to hold your fabric and scrape. Just scrape it off. And you don't want to mix your colors. We just kind of have a place to catch all of your shaving cream with your color. But as you're marbling, you're just shaving off, taking off that layer of dye and shaving cream. Now once you get this done, and you can even blend the colors a little if you want. Once you have done this, you want to let this dry. It needs to dry completely, and make sure that the shaving cream and paint has set. So we're going to lay this one aside for a moment, and in preparing for the video, I made one the other day that has already dried, and I just used the 2 colors on here. And once this has dried, you want to set it. The way you set your color is by ironing it. So I have a very thick towel here on the countertop, and you don't want to put your iron directly on this because it is paint. So you want to use a pressing cloth, just a thin layer of fabric, lay it on top, and slowly press, and the heat will penetrate the pressing cloth to set your color. Then you will be able to take this up and wash it. And once you wash it, again, you want to let it dry, but this way the heat has set your color so that it won't bleed or even just wash out. This can be used to make, wall art. You could use this to put on a small pillow if you like to make pillows. You could even trim this up and make it into a napkin. You could do a whole set for your family. This is one of the projects that's available on the Tennessee 4-H Projects webpage under the Clothing and Textiles. Thank you for joining me. Stay well and stay safe.